Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about all the latest NBA news, and today we're going to be talking about some more Miami Heat news, with them reportedly having trade targets in a couple of players. He goes on to say that the Heat have trade interest in Kyle Lowry, Davis Bertans, and JJ Redick, per NBC Sports. I personally think, I'm going to start off with the first one, Kyle Lowry. There is no way that they're going to be able to trade for this guy, I feel like. I mean, there was obviously a little bit of confusion on whether or not he was actually going to, stay at the Raptors. There was a lot of people saying that he could potentially get traded to the Spurs, or they could look for a trade target for him. And yeah, they pretty much extended him to a 1-year deal, which would, kind of make it so he would be an easier trade target and all this stuff, knowing that he's a, locked contract. It also worked out for Kyle Lowry because he ended up getting, the money. I think it was $31 million or something like that. But the Raptors are currently 5th in the East with a 17-8 record. And it's clear they could be the best team in the East yet again. They could come out of the East and make it to the NBA Finals. And it does look like the Raptors have actually realized that and have their intention set on trading for a genuine star or something like that on the trade deadline. I saw some people saying Kevin Love and DeMar DeRozan. Again, Kevin Love, it does not fit in really with how the Raptors are at the moment, I wouldn't think. I mean, I feel like the Raptors are a very defensive focused team, and yeah, they love their spacing and all that stuff, but I just feel like Kevin Love wouldn't fit really too well. And obviously DeMar can't shoot threes really, and is kind of I'd say he's not exactly the best player anymore, and I feel like they could probably get better players to potentially put on this team. So I don't really know what's going to necessarily happen when it comes to that, but I really just can't see the Toronto Raptors trading Kyle Lowry. I feel like he is an untouchable at the moment, unless the price was like really good, unless like maybe potentially the Miami Heat were going to offer like Kendrick Nunn and Tyler Hero and maybe, something like that. I feel like the Raptors might do that because obviously that would give two very good and young assets to put around potentially, the young kind of core they already have with, OG, Fred VanVleet, Siakam, etc. That would be pretty crazy, and they're still on their rookie contract. So yeah, I actually don't know if Nunn's on his rookie contract. I think he's actually on just a 1 year, I'm pretty sure, but obviously Tyler Hero still is. So unless they're going to offer something like that, which I doubt the Heat would do because I feel like they really want to keep their young core, then I could potentially see the Raptors doing it. But again, it's a no for me. I just can't see it happening, and yeah, I feel like Kyle Lowry will be on the Raptors for the end of this season, and if they decide to trade him in the off-season, I guess that's their decision. But again, I really don't think they will do it at this moment. But yeah, who really knows what's going to happen when it does come to the off-season. Anyway, let's move on now to Bertans. And Bertans is actually doing very, very good this year for the Washington Wizards. So I actually can, see why the Miami Heat are extremely interested in him. Obviously, they're going to have competition from other teams such as the Philadelphia 76ers. But if we look at this team, Davis Bertans is currently averaging 15.4 points off the bench, 4.6 rebounds, 1.6 assists in 28.8 minutes. And get this, I don't know if this is the highest number in the NBA or whatever, but he's averaging 45.6 from 3. He's hit 93 out of 204. Absolutely crazy numbers. Like, that is so good. It's really, really good, obviously. But again, Philadelphia are going to most likely try and get him as well, which I might be making a separate video on. But I really don't know what the Heat are going to have to give up. But before I get into that, I'd just like to mention something. I've never really liked the Washington Wizards team until, like, this year. Because every year I watched, seen the Washington Wizards, I was like, okay, their list is kind of overrated. And I ended up being right. But now that I look at their list, they've actually got some prospects. Bradley Beal's on that nice contract now. Davis Bertans is a really nice role player. Rui Hachimura, Thomas Bryant are pretty good starters. Isaiah Thomas and Maurice Wagner are also pretty decent. And then they'll have their pick of this year. And then they'll get John Wall back and potentially maybe even sign some more free agents. That's actually a nice looking team. I don't really know. It's just kind of interesting in my opinion. But if we're going to look at the Miami Heat now, I think he would be pretty good for their lineup. Obviously, Eric Spoelstra likes his defense and all that stuff, but he also likes his spacing, I guess, and just likes to, partner some players up with spacing. But a move I like to compare this to is when the Bucks actually acquired Nikola Mirotic, I believe, from the New Orleans Pelicans, and they added a really nice three-point shooter going into the playoffs, and he was actually pretty good for them. Then he left to go sign for, Barcelona and all that stuff. That was a little bit unfortunate for Bucks fans, but this is a move I would kind of compare this to, in my opinion. Now, a trade that I really, really actually like is a trade revolving around Justice Winslow. Now, Justice Winslow is obviously extremely an interesting player because he's currently on the Heat right now. He works best when he has the ball in his hands, obviously. He's not exactly a good spot-up shooter or anything, but the Heat currently have a lot of players that like the ball in their hands. Obviously, Jimmy Butler likes the offense run through him. Kendrick Nunn oftenly brings the ball down the court too. Goran Dragic off the bench. I've even seen Bam Adebayo take the ball down the court. And even Tyler Hero. So, where does that leave Justice Winslow? And that's why I think he would be pretty good for the Washington Wizards. If I look at the Washington Wizards right now, they currently don't really have a, decent point guard. They got Isaiah Thomas, who has actually been okay this season. Coming off the bench, he would be cool. But, I just really don't know what's going to necessarily happen with him. John Wall's still injured. No one really knows the time frame on when he's going to be exactly getting back. If he comes back next year, next season, sorry, that's, pretty cool. But I still feel like this would kind of help out with their team. Obviously, they got Ish Smith and Jordan McRae coming off the bench, who I guess are kind of average. I don't really know how they are exactly without the ball. Ish Smith's actually 36% from 3, so I imagine he's a decent 3-point shooter. I guess that could come into play right there. But I look at their small forwards. I have no idea who's even starting at small forward for this team. I actually believe it's Troy Brown. And I feel like Justice Winslow is obviously a massive upgrade from Troy Brown. So we could potentially see a, trade potentially revolving around maybe Davis Bertans and a first in like 2023 or something for Justice Winslow. I think would actually be pretty decent. Obviously, Justice Winslow is a very, very good 3-and-D player that can take the ball down the court. So I kind of rate that move. I don't really know. I think that's kind of interesting and something that I would potentially like to see. Now, here's another one that we got, and that's JJ Redick to the Miami Heat. I don't really rate this move exactly too much. I believe Eric Spoelstra relies a lot on defense in his, system proficiency and all that type of stuff. So I really don't see this being a main move that the Heat try and do, just based on the fact that JJ Redick, he really is not a defender. He can't defend at all that much, but he is a 3-point shooter, and I think could add some stuff to the Miami Heat. But I feel like Miami Heat are kind of good for 3-point shooting at the moment. I mean, Jimmy Butler is a pretty decent 3-point shooter, he's actually averaging 27% from 3 this year, which is absolutely terrible, obviously. But in the previous, he was averaging 34%, and the year before that, 35%, which is pretty average. I don't really know. There's nothing really to look at that too much. Goran Dragic obviously averages 40% from 3, which is kind of insane as well. Those are very good numbers. Kendrick Nunn is pretty basic, 35%. And then they got Tyler Hero as well, who's a very good 3-point shooter on 37%. I feel like they're okay on 3-point shooting. I don't really think they need that exactly too much. I feel like one of the things that the Heat do need is maybe just another star to help out Jimmy Butler. I felt like Bradley Beal could have been that perfect option for Jimmy Butler, but we obviously know now Bradley Beal has re-signed with the Washington Wizards and doesn't really have any intention on leaving them, so I can't really see that exactly happening at all. And yeah, I can't really see what another star would be that could potentially join the team. But JJ Redick, I feel like, is not the player that the Heat really need to be targeting. But if they were going to try and get him into a trade, I feel like something would be interesting to offer the New Orleans Pelicans as a couple bad contracts, like James Johnson and maybe Dion Waiters, because obviously Dion Waiters is not going to play for the Heat most likely this year. He doesn't have any trade value, but he is an expiring deal that I feel like the Pelicans would like. James Johnson as well. The reason they probably like this expiring deal is they could probably get something back in return. For example, they could probably offer JJ Redick up for potentially, James Johnson, Dion Waiters, and maybe a young player like Derrick Jones and a pick or something like that, or a second-round pick. Obviously, then they get another young player who can be like the 10th man in the rotation, 9th man or something, and they get a potential pick out, all for JJ Redick, who I really don't know if he's necessarily going to be in the team for very much longer. And yeah, obviously, I think they might even ask for more than that. Maybe they even go after Duncan Robinson, who really knows what the New Orleans Pelicans would do. Again, he's 44% from 3, so I don't really exactly think they need exactly too much 3-point shooters. But yeah, anyone, just thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest NBA and sports content. Don't forget to comment in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts and opinions on this? Do you guys think these moves would be good for the Miami Heat? What do you guys think they would have to trade up to make these moves? I definitely would really like to know you guys' thoughts and opinions down below. So yeah, don't forget to comment it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/vlogging channel. Links for them are in the description down below. My LaMelo Ball vlog has recently just dropped on my vlogging channel, so definitely go check that out. So make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.